Man, Tyler, you're first on, man. Right on. Chris is Chris is right after. That's awesome. Hey, Octavio Ball Barber, what's up, man? My barber's on here. He just gave me my cut today. What do you think? Look at that. Styling, right? Takes care of me. Sean, what's going on? Thanks, man. You did a good job today. The Cloudy Glass, hey, welcome. The Suave Steve. What's up, Steven? Love Mojo. Paul Brillia in the house. I'm excited about tonight's cocktail. We are going to be doing a little bit of a twist on the Caipirinha. Whiskey and bourbon, welcome. It's going to be a fun one. This is a very simple drink to make. This is another, 4-ingredient drink. Steven. Kristen, hey, welcome. Ontario, oh man, you're across. It's late there, man. You're catching the, red eye back? 10 p.m.? Bryn, domestic dietitian, thank you for coming. Thanks for the shout out today. Will, what's up, buddy? Whiskey Bud. Man, there's a whole bunch of people on here today. This is awesome. Yeah, we're going to make some cocktails tonight, for sure. I'll give it like 30 more seconds, and then we go, oh, Ontario, California. Jeez, man, I was about to say. That makes a little bit more sense. You coming home, or are you going out? How many of you guys out there have had a Caipirinha? Just give me like a thumbs up if you've had it. Hen HWM, welcome, man. Coming home, right on. Glad that you're coming home. Rivera 415, what's up, man? Hey, I sent you a message the other day. I have your samples for you. I need you to respond with your address or let me know if you want to meet up in the next couple weeks. Get you a little snowflake. Okay, cool. So we've got a lot of thumbs up saying that they've had the Caipirinha. So Steven hasn't had one. This is a twist on it. So I'll be talking a little bit tonight about the traditional way of making the Caipirinha, and then I'll go into sort of my little spin on it tonight. Laswell, what's up, man? Brain Micah, what's up? McPro, what's going on? Thanks for joining. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get it started. So I'm gonna walk over here, get you guys mounted up, but we are gonna be making the Caipirinha tonight. As always, once I get you guys mounted up, I'm not gonna be able to see any of the comments or anything, and so I will go ahead and scroll back through any of the comments if you have any questions during this and answer them. But I'm gonna get started and get this thing going. All right, so the Caipirinha is one of my favorite cocktails. It's in my top 5 for sure. It's just a very simple, traditional cocktail to make. Pretty much the Caipirinha comes from Brazil. That is just like that Jesus statue on the hill is to Rio de Janeiro. The Caipirinha is the cocktail or the drink of choice down in Brazil. Traditionally, it uses cachaça, so I'm going to be introducing you guys to that tonight. But Caipirinha actually stands for little peasant girl, is what it translates to. And so it's just a simple drink. It's just a simple, easygoing drink. Traditionally, the way you would make it is you would get your lime and you would basically quarter it. You'd put it into a glass, add some sugar. You could do like a turbinado, a demerara, a regular table sugar, and then you would muddle it, and then you'd extract sort of that lime peel. You'd get a lot of the lime juices out of it, and then you'd muddle in that sugar, so you kind of make almost like a lime simple syrup in the glass, and then you add your cachaça, and then you add a bunch of crushed ice on top, and then as it kind of melts and dilutes and you keep stirring it, just is a very simple, delicious drink. So what I'm going to be doing instead is I'm going to be introducing a couple different components to it, but it's still going to have a similar flavor profile to it. We're just going to amp it up a little bit. So I'm still going to be using the cachaça, and we're going to be also adding the lime juice, but instead of muddling it, I'm going to be juicing the lime juice and putting that in there. And then I'm going to be putting some velvet falernum in there. I love this stuff. If you know me, you know I love this stuff. And then we're gonna be putting in some, you could use simple syrup, but I'm actually gonna be using a cinnamon syrup tonight. The cinnamon, I think, inside of the simple syrup that I'm using goes really well with some of the clove and the almond flavor that you have in this falernum. It comes together very, very nicely. All right, so let's see, what else I was gonna tell you? So cachaca, real quick. This is something that a lot of you have probably seen on the shelf in the rum section and don't really know what it is. It's very inexpensive. Some other brands are like LeBlanc. This one is, it's a Pioca. This one right here, I wanna say is under 20 bucks or just over 20 bucks. It's just a very inexpensive, alcohol. It's a sugar cane distillate. So they don't make it from molasses like they traditionally do with rum. They make it from the actual sugarcane distillate itself. And then they age it in wood barrels, not charred barrels like bourbon, just regular wood barrels. And what you get out of this is, it can be a little hot by itself, even at 80 proof, but you get a lot of earthy notes in the taste of it. It has like a funky agricole, it's just good, like almost like a wet grass, but in a good way, if that makes any sense. But it's just a great one, inexpensive. You can pick up all these ingredients or make your own simple syrup or cinnamon syrup for less than 40 bucks, and you can just make a bunch of cocktails. Just need to get some limes. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. First things first is I'm going to put in my citrus. That way I'm not putting my booze yet. So this is going to call for 1 1/4 ounce of lime juice. There's a lot of lime juice in this one. Chris, I was thinking about it and I messed up the flip. I knew it was going to happen. So we're going to put 1 1/4 ounce of lime. As always, I always say this: if you're picking your citrus right, you should get about 1 ounce out of a lime. So I'm only going to need 1 and just a little bit out of this second lime to get my 1 1/4 ounce. There we go. And after I got my lime juice in here, I'm going to go ahead and move to my cinnamon syrup. So the cinnamon syrup I'm using tonight, I cheated. I didn't make it. This is BG Reynolds. They're up out of Portland. I mentioned them before. I was going to make a Demerara syrup to use in this tonight, but then I was like, you know what? I have this cinnamon syrup that I bought that I need to get through, and so that's what I'm using it. But, oh man, they put a little extra in here. This has fruity Ceylon and a spicy cassia in it. It's just, it's very aromatic. It's just really tasty. So we're going to put 3/4 ounce of the cinnamon syrup, but once again, you could also just use a regular simple syrup in this particular cocktail. Now I'm going to move on to my Falernum. So I mentioned this before, but I absolutely love this stuff. It's just delicious. It's low proof. It's not very high in proof. I want to say, let's see, it's only 11% alcohol by volume. So, but it's just so good. It's rum based, and I'm going to be putting 1/4 ounce of this. So not a ton, just enough to get some of that flavor in there. It's also really sweet. So if I put too much, it's going to over sweeten this drink. But Falernum is basically a rum distillate. I believe it's a Barbados rum, and it's lime, almond, clove, a little bit of ginger. They kind of steep in the rum, and they just kind of extract, or they just kind of mingle all that together, and it just creates this really nice, thick, sweet, robust flavor. You get the almond notes in it, you get the clove for sure in there. The ginger, I don't get too much out of it, but I definitely get a limey taste to it too. It's fantastic. And then last, we're going to be adding 2 ounces of our cachaca. We've got our 2 ounces. So once again, just to kind of recap, is we had 1 1/4 ounces of lime. We had 3/4 ounce of the cinnamon syrup. We had 1/4 ounce of the velvet falernum. And then we added 2 ounces of the cachaca. And what we're going to do with this particular cocktail is we are going to do a short shake. So I'm going to be using crushed ice. I already have my bag of ice that I crushed earlier. I'm just going to be adding enough ice to kind of create about a quarter ounce more volume in the tin. And after I get my ice in there, a short shake is just that. I'm just gonna shake it enough to get it cool. Because we're using crushed ice, it's gonna melt very fast, so I don't wanna shake it too much, otherwise I'll just do a lot of dilution up front. So short shake. And then with this one, the best thing about it is you dump the whole thing out. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my skull mug that I'm gonna be using tonight. I'm just gonna dump the whole thing out in there. And then top it off with some crushed ice. Add a straw. And then you got a variation of the Caipirinha. Cheers. Oh, this is, Yes. It almost gets it to the point where it has a little bit of a tiki vibe to it. So there's a lot of lime that comes through. That 1/4 ounce of Falernum that we put in there just absolutely, it brings out that clove. It brings out that almond, and then I get that cinnamon syrup that just kind of balances it all out. It's not overly sweet, but it's just enough sweetness to kind of combat that lime that's in there. This is something that if you want it to be a little bit more spirit forward, you could easily do 2.5 ounces, maybe even push it to 3 ounces of the Cachaca and be just fine. But this goes down easy. The way I made it with the 2 ounces of Cachaca, 1/4 ounce of Falernum, 3/4 ounce of simple syrup, and then you have your 1 1/4 ounce of lime. I mean, there is absolutely zero alcohol taste in this. It's like almost like a punch. And my neighbors refer to this one as a get up in ya, because when I make these, you drink these very fast and they get up in ya, and next thing you know, you're having a really good time. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and grab the phone, answer any questions, but there you have it. Caipirinha, modified. All right. You know, over here and see my mess. Getting, whew. I'm not as out of breath because I didn't have to shake it so much. That's a good thing. All right. OKC Food Eater, hey, thanks for joining. Jack and Coke. I can do a Jack and Coke here pretty soon, if that's what you want. It's going to be a short episode, though. Adding this to your grocery list. Right on. So the advantage of a short... Oh, you got it. Yep. Is doesn't do the dilution. Chris, my ice came out of the freezer just like everybody else. I just put it... I just put it in my bag to crush it. Dave Butler, what's going on, man? Breaking Bourbon, what's up? All right. Would Clement work in this drink? Yeah, it absolutely would. It still has sort of that agricole taste to it, so you'd be able to get it. Advantage of that booze over a different rum. So the Cachaca, what you're going to get out of it is you're going to get that agricole taste. So rum tends to be very sweet, or the profile of rum is sweet because it's distilled from molasses. And so it would be a little too sweet. So if you're gonna do it with rum, I'd still put in the Falernum because the Falernum is gonna draw out some flavors that you want in this. But I'd probably dial back the simple syrup. So I'd probably even dial it back to a 1/4 ounce. So 1/4 ounce of Falernum, 1/4 ounce of cinnamon syrup, and then follow the recipe as is, and then you would probably be able to balance that out. It's still gonna be a little bit more on the sweet side, and you're not gonna get that agricole, funky, you know, I described it as wet grass, but there's no better way to describe it. It's like, that's what you're gonna get out of it. Dave Butler, let's do it, man. If you're up here at Thanksgiving, come on over. Martin Maximum, thanks for joining. What's up, Callie? All right. This is a live studio audience, Steve. It's live right now. Would a ginger simple syrup up the flavor a bit from the Falernum? Yeah, that's a good question. Potentially, I would say that it would probably balance very well. That it would probably just give it a little bit more of a bite. I've thought about even doing like a jalapeno simple syrup in this to kind of bring a spiciness to it. But yeah, that might be interesting to do a ginger simple syrup instead of a cinnamon or a regular one and see what it does. Get up and you drinks is how you ended up with 2 kids. Yeah, those are probably a lot of people out there in the same boat. All right, Kentucky Firewater. How do you make your own cinnamon syrup? I think you're asking this because you made one time and you used powdered cinnamon, and you probably realized that it never dissolves ever, that it just kind of floats around in there. So to make a cinnamon simple syrup, you would do a normal simple syrup where you do 1 part water to 1 part sugar. So do like a cup of water, 1 cup of sugar. And then as you are sort of mixing the two together, then what you're going to want to do is don't ever let it boil, but throw some cinnamon sticks in there and just kind of continue to cook it with the cinnamon sticks. And then that's how you get a simple syrup. And then what I usually do is when I dump out the syrup and I put it into a jar, or I have these little fancy, potion bottles, I like to call them, that I put in, I actually throw a cinnamon stick in there, and I just leave it in there. And that's how you make a cinnamon simple syrup. Or you can cheat and you could go to bjreynolds.com and you can buy it. And they sell, the bottles I have, they have a bunch of different syrups that you can buy, and they're absolutely fantastic, and they don't add a bunch of garbage to them. They're all very pure and just great ingredients. The OKC Food Eaters Jalapeno Simple is one of my favorite simple syrups. I like making margaritas with it, a lot of stuff. Actually, maybe next week I'll do a jalapeno simple syrup. Actually, I think I will. I'll do a jalapeno simple syrup, and there's a cocktail that I do with it that's just absolutely phenomenal. Rich syrup when using bold flavors, I agree. I'm the same. That's why I went with that cinnamon syrup tonight. It's very thick, it's very rich, and it just balances out with that agricole, the cachaca, and then the strong flavors that you get with Falernum. And for everyone that's out there, Falernum is also very inexpensive, less than 20 bucks. So, these are two things that you could buy that would go a long way. Very big crowd pleasers if you are having people over making cocktails. Super simple to make too. Mick Shim, thanks for, no problem, anytime, man. All right, any more questions? Otherwise, I'm gonna wrap this up. I got a cocktail to drink and probably some bourbon too. Thanks, man. I got that flip a couple times. I messed it up the first time. The second 2 times, I did it all right, I guess. I don't think about it, so now you think about it. How's that old rupee and the other one next to it? Not very good, man. They're okay. I wouldn't go searching for them. If you run across them and you have the money burning hole in your pocket, pick them up. Thanks everybody for joining. Burn Brother, I know you just joined. We're done. Dave and Bonnie, I'll see you later. But as always, I'll post this to YouTube. So I'll save this recording. I'll post it up. You don't get all the fun comments on there, but at least you can go look back, click on the profile on my Instagram, and click on the link, get to YouTube, watch the video. Maybe make yourself this version of the Caipirinha. All right, guys, I'll see you later.